So yeah, like they said, I started my journey back in 2020. Can you hear me? I'm very loud anyway. It's so you can hear me, Dawn. It's intentional. Thank you. Thank you. And through my own personal journey, I decided I wanted to become a coach because I wanted to be able to help other people. And this is my second time speaking on the low carb cruise, and that's the first time over 15 minutes. So we'll see how I do. I've already wasted 40 seconds. My topic today. Oh, that's true. I know the guy that has the. I wanted to do this topic today because of the fact it is blowing up all over the internet. If you have any sort of social media or anything like that, you've seen the word peptides somewhere. And I wanted to give an educated, no medical opinions, no medical advice. I'm not an expert in this subject. The only expert in this room is Jimmy Bowen, who is sitting right back there. So if you've got questions, bug him, not me. There is no medical advice. I'm not doing any protocols. I'm not doing any dosing. I'm not doing instructions, nothing like that. This is purely for educational purposes only. So before we get into that, let's talk about me. You can see here, my journey began in 2020. And doesn't that girl look so unbelievably happy in 2020? That is a picture of somebody who hit rock bottom. I had lost my dad 9 months before this. Oh my God, I can't get emotional. And being a girl who had significant daddy issues, I had no idea what an impact that was going to do. And between October of 19 and June of 2020, I got to almost 300 pounds. Because I know, I feel you. Because I used food for everything. I was on my first diet when I was 9 years old. And food was my emotional crutch. I was happy, I ate. I was sad, I ate. I was stressed, I ate. I was excited, I ate. Good things happened, I ate. Bad things happened, I ate. Ed was my bestie growing up. So I completely get so many of these speakers that have already gone. I'm like, yep. So that was me in 2020. And this girl, take your time. It's okay.
This is the most relatable thing about any health journey.
Yeah.
That's true.
In the summer of 2020, my husband and I were very fortunate to have Adonelli as our doctor. And we just lost him in March of this year. Very tragically. Whew. But that man saved my life 6 years ago. He was the first doctor that did not lecture me. He didn't judge me. He didn't look at me a certain way. He sat with us for an hour, our first appointment with him. And he talked to us like we were human beings. And he told us what we were experiencing was okay. And that's where I get my phrase, we're not broken, because Dr. Nally would tell me, you're not broken. You've just been led down the wrong path. So that man, I 100% credit him for me standing here today. And losing him back in March was just a tragic loss for the entire low-carb community.
Sure.
So there's the dash in the middle there. It's just some of the pictures of me along my journey. What I want to point out is right here is where I stalled for 2 years. 0 weight loss, 0 movement, 0 improvement in my lab, 0 improvement, in my opinion, in my metabolic health. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Let's try this. Let's do this a little bit harder. Let's do this a little bit lighter. I did all of the things and still nothing was working properly. So I will tell you guys, I did not come into this world excited about peptides. I have to tell this story. I was 2 years ago extremely against GLP-1s because I was a coach and I was very insecure in myself. And I said, if people take these shots, they don't need me. They don't need a coach. And this beautiful human being over here, Elena Garner, and I had a very interesting interaction in a Facebook group. which I profusely apologized for 6 months ago. 9 months ago, actually. Oh my gosh, I was this far in the year. Because when I made the pivot in my thought process, when I decided to go ahead and start actually researching not just GLP-1s, but other peptides as well, I had to apologize because I was wrong. Again, this girl was in a 2-year stall. Everything was going great. So I went to Dr. Nally and I said, I don't know what else to do. Should we try this? And he said, why not? Because he knew I was doing everything right. My foundations were solid. Let's go ahead and try it. And that is what started the needle moving again for me. So then I took a GLP-1 certification, then led by Jimmy Bowen, who you guys will hear from a little bit later. And that started me down the rabbit hole of all peptides, which is why I'm very passionate about it now. So I want you guys to understand the conversation with regards to these is way beyond just weight loss. It's so instrumental in our entire bodies. So what are peptides? If you have, see, there we go. I was very skeptical. I thought it was a cheat. They were overhyped. And again, I was threatened as a coach. And that's my vulnerability showing right there. So once I finally learned the science, I understood everything. It was a major change for me in my opinion about, okay, how should these things be utilized, even within the low carb space? So what are peptides? Again, if you have been anywhere on the interwebs in the past 6 months, you've probably heard a million times. Peptides are short chain amino acids. I won't bore you with all in, but they are made of 20 to 50 different amino acids. They are smaller than proteins, but we have peptides throughout our bodies. They are basically like messengers. Think of them as basically sending text messages from system to system. And if the communication isn't happening properly in our bodies, nothing else really is working like it's supposed to. So it's receptor signaling. They bind to receptor like lock and key, which is my little image over there. God bless you. Where the key fits into the lock and they fit together and it just unlocks the magic that's supposed to be happening within our bodies. And again, they tell our bodies basically what to produce or what to reactivate. If you've ever heard of insulin is a peptide, and it has been used therapeutically for over a century. So peptides are not new. They're just being talked about a lot right now, specifically by gym bros. So I'm going to go over a couple of things, and then we're going to discuss categories of peptides. If I were to sit here and go into detail about every single peptide, we would be here for 2 days. So I have 40 minutes. Now I'm down to 31. I have multiple master classes on my YouTube channel. You guys can go and watch about specific categories of peptides and specific peptides after we're off the ship. So there is a lot of talk about the FDA approval happening with peptides right now because of the shift that happened from category 2 being moved to category 1 to be investigated by the FDA. That means FDA approved is they were clinically studied. There are approved indications for certain things. So yes, there are peptides that have been FDA approved for specific things like ipamorelin and tesamorelin for visceral fat in HIV patients, not necessarily for everybody else to use for visceral fat. It's been approved for that specific purpose. They've got established safety profiles, and there is regulated manufacturing in them. Investigational means that they are being researched. There's research that is still coming out about them. We have limited human data happening or available right now. They are not yet FDA approved, but again, keep an eye out in the next few months for things that may be happening, but they should be used with medical oversight. That is very important. What you may be hearing online is that, oh, there's a list of 14 peptides that just got approval. No, there's a list of peptides that were shifted from category 2 to category 1, and they are being investigated now to see if they are going to approve. Compounding does not mean that they are FDA approved. Those two do not equal each other. Everything available is legal and safe. And online protocols are universally safe. No. You need a medical professional giving you protocols that you may be following for peptide therapy.
Yeah.
These are the peptides that are being looked at right now and being investigated potentially for FDA approval. We'll see what happens around July. All right, so we've got metabolic. Metabolic and weight loss is the first category I'll be talking about. These focus areas are appetite signaling, blood sugar regulation. It's not just a skinny shot, FYI. Satiety mechanisms, which obviously Maria touched on GLPs as far as satiety and our appetite suppression period. Fat storage pathways. Inflammatory overlap. When I started GLP-1, I was shocked at the amount of inflammation I was still carrying, even eating a ketogenic diet. My face was very puffy 3 years ago. I look at photos from back then and I'm blown away. And then lipid profile enhancement, which I know in the low carb space, all the doctors will say, don't worry about your cholesterol. Don't worry about your cholesterol. I worry about my cholesterol because of my familial history, my genetic predisposition to certain things, and certain scores that I've gotten back. So these have all improved just by low dosing a GLP-1 for me personally. My triglycerides never got below 130 on keto. They're under 100 now. There's obviously something that's at play there. FDA approved is Semaglutide, Tirzepatide, and lipedema. Everybody's talking about Rena right now because that's going to be the next big thing, the triple agonist. CAG is another one that is helping with appetite suppression specifically. And then we have lipotropics that are non-peptides, but often lumped into peptide groups, MIC and L-carnitine. And I've got a couple of examples to show you guys. One of them is in the room with us today. So first, we're going to talk about Larry. Larry, I met on the low-carb cruise in Alaska. And he came up and talked to me when I outed myself as a GLP-1 friendly coach. And he wanted to get some advice, and he ultimately hired me as his coach. He started with me this was August photo that we had. He started at 314 pounds. And we worked together for about 6 months. He's been on his own for about 6 months now. And the man is thriving. When he came to me, he was at the maximum dose of Semaglutide, and nothing was happening. We started him on low-dose Tirzepatide, and he is still not at the maximum dose a year later. So he started at 314 pounds. He is now at 246 pounds. Larry has lymphedema. He has struggled for most of his life. So the protocol we used on him was low-dose Tirzepatide, PSMF, 1 to 2 days a week. And he's doing his compression and he is doing a vibration plate. The man went from being completely sedentary to walking 4 miles a day now. Yeah. Yeah, he's part of Marian's group. She's part of Joe and Rachel's groups. And the man, if you want to be inspired by somebody, Larry Flagworth, find him on Facebook. My next example is Susan Beerbaum. My success story as a coach, I'm going to say. So she started in April of last year on Tirzepatide. She was diagnosed with lipedema around the same time. We have worked together for 3 years. We have worked together for 3 years, and it was just hiccup over hiccup. It just didn't stop. We would see a little bit of success, and then it would go back. And then we did a little more, but we always fluctuated the same 5 to 10 pounds. Her doctor started her on Tirzepatide, and she has lost 1 pound in a year and over 30 inches of her body. She's doing DEXA scans. She is not losing muscle. She has gained muscle. She is losing fat. She has lost inflammation. And again, doing all of the right things. She's having massive success. You're not going to necessarily die on a GLP-1, depending on who you are. Next is we're going to talk about body comp and fat partitioning. She's a perfect example for the body composition and fat partitioning. So we want to focus on lean mass preservation, especially if you're taking a GLP-1, obviously. Body recomposition, visceral fat reduction. We know how very important that is to get that down. And then energy utilization optimization. we want our bodies to start using the fat that we have on it for fuel, right? Some examples over there. These are not FDA approved at this point, but here are some samples: tesamorelin, AOD 9604, CJC 1295, morelin, sermorelin, rena, and L-carnitine, as far as fat mobilizers in your body, aka lipotropic type of things. And then just this diagram right here: same weight, different body count. Almost the same weight, completely different body. When I saw her in the hotel the other day, I couldn't believe it. And I see her every week on Zoom calls. Muscle preservation and recovery. Yeah, there's peptides for everything. We want to, again, protect our lean mass as we're going forward with losing weight. And it doesn't matter if you're on a GLP-1 or not. You can still lose muscle if you're losing weight. If you're on any sort of a diet, you're going to lose muscle potentially. We want to make sure that we're focusing on recovery capacity. That is very important. And if our body's signaling is off, that's not going to happen properly. We want to be able to heal properly after stress, generally physical stress, workouts, things like that. Aging populations, you're going to lose muscle as you're getting older. I'm almost 50. How'd that happen? And then again, injury support. So with me, my particular issue right now is we had a car accident back in December the day we got off of a cruise ship. And I've been struggling since December with, I haven't worked out. I have not been able to strength train. I've been able to walk around a treadmill and that's it. So I am being intentional about preserving the muscle that I have on my body right now, so I'm not losing that. And then examples again over there on the right: CJC, ipamorelin, sermorelin, amino 5, L-carnitine, BPC 157, TB 500, and MOPC. You are going to see many of these peptides on different slides because they are so universal and many of them work synergistically together. Healing and tissue recovery. My favorite one. So when Elena and I kissed and made up, I found out she was having surgery, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be doing a presentation on peptides, and I know you utilize peptides. Can I please use you as an example? And it's been so much fun documenting and following along in her journey of healing post-op when she had 10 pounds of skin removed in January. So focus areas for this category is obviously tissue repair and support. We want collagen to be regenerated within our bodies. Recovery environment. We need to have a healthy recovery environment where we're not going to recover like we need to. Surgical healing. You guys are going to see some pretty gnarly pictures next. I'm just warning you. Circulation and inflammation control while healing and trying to recover, especially from a surgery. So examples: BPC 157. You heard that one before, right? TB 500, GHK copper, KPV, and LL37. If you are queasy around surgical incisions and wounds, Autumn is already covering her eyes, beware. So I love these photos of Elena. This was 1 day post-op, but 18 hours. Would you look at how beautiful those incisions are now? I'm having the same surgeon. So this is what she looked like immediately after surgery. This over here, February of 26, on her way home from Mexico, she ended up popping a stitch on the airplane, which, oops. She gets home, she's doing what she needs to do as far as trying to help it to recover. The problem is this teeny tiny little thing has no fat in that area back there for proper healing to take place. So her wound ended up opening and it ended up tunneling in. So I guess I better go see somebody about this. She wasn't being superhuman and trying to do everything for herself. Wound care freaked out, of course, because that's what wound care does. They did put her in the hospital for 6 days. She was there for a week. Never had any infection. That was never infected. They stuck her on antibiotics just in case, but she never had any infection.
You brought in an infectious disease doctor because when I said Mexico.
God forbid somebody went to Mexico for medical treatment. But this was 2 months later. She was completely healed up. She did have a wound vac on for about 6 weeks.
So I had it on for 3 weeks, and then we tried to
A week off.
Like, when doctor let me take it off for poolside because I was volunteering poolside, and then we put it back on.
So 4 weeks total wound vac. I've done personal injury law for 26 years. I've never seen injuries and wounds heal up like that in my life. And she used a very specific peptide protocol for herself to basically create the healing that was happening in the body on its own, and never once had any sort of an infection. Inflammation and immune signaling. We know there's good inflammation and bad inflammation, right? Acute inflammation is protective when we injure ourselves and we have surgeries and things like that, or it's going to get hot around those areas to help the blood flow to get there and help with healing. Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, not so good. So we need to make sure that we're getting those pathways signaling properly so that they're functioning the right way. All right. We've got the proper recovery environment. Again, many of these things overlap. And systemic communication. Dr. Tony was talking about our systems need to be communicating properly with each other. And if they're not, our bodies just run them. So we don't necessarily want zero inflammation in our bodies. We just want appropriate regulation of when it should be and should not be happening. Some examples of the peptides for inflammation and immune signaling are there to the right. One is FDA approved. The rest of them are still investigational. And again, you see a repeat of peptides that we've already talked about. Gut health and barrier function. We know how very important that is, right? Our guts are our second brains. And if our guts are off, everything else ends up being off. We don't want that happening. So we need to make sure we have good gut barrier integrity. If you have issues with leaky gut, things like that, we want to make sure those are healed. Some people are able to do it through diet. Some people need other intervention to take place. Nutrient absorption. If we're eating all of this amazing food, we want to make sure we're actually absorbing the micro and macronutrients, correct? As opposed to just having it a lesser moment. Then again, inflammatory signaling. The gut controls so much within our bodies. We need to make sure it's functioning properly. So there are some examples there of gut health peptides that people will utilize. APV, BPC, GLP-1s. Obviously, our guts produce GLPs. LL37, tetraglutide. Brain health, stress, and sleep. Something that is ignored by way too many people. We focus so much on our bodies, but if our bodies we can't basically separate physiological stress from metabolic health because, again, those are very much interconnected. If you're not sleeping, you're not recovering well. You're not functioning well. If you are overstressed, if you are a complete cortisol storm, there's a reason I haven't drank my coffee yet because I haven't eaten. I process caffeine very slowly. And so I have to make sure I eat before I caffeinate. Which is very frustrating. But guess what? I feel better since I started doing it. But we need the brain to function properly. Brain health, our stress, our sleep, they're all connected to our physiological state. So we want stress regulation. We need neurotransmitter support. Sleep signaling, DSIP, best thing ever. Just going to say that. For me, not for you. Recovery capacity and neurosystem balance. And then over there, we've got examples. I'm going to tell you, I've used every single one of these. Not at one time, but I have used every single one of these because, again, Dr. Nally's passing had a significant impact on me. And I'm like, I am just like him. I am go, 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 go. And I try and fix everybody's problems. And I carry everybody else's stress and issues. And I can't do that anymore. I just can't. So Cmax Selength, which you will often see as a blend for anxiety and sleep assistant. DSIP, which is deep sleep inducing peptide. Talent NAD+, which is not a peptide. And MOX-B, which is fantastic for mitochondrial and cellular health. Which moves us to our next slide. Focus on cellular energy production. We need our cells to be functioning properly, right? Every single process in our body needs energy. Where does that energy come from? Cells, our mitochondria. So we need to ensure that our mitochondria are functioning efficiently. We want to reduce oxidative stress within our bodies. We want to have metabolic efficiency, obviously, and a healthy recovery capacity. You guys see, like, everything just fits together, right? Peptides, as far as cellular health and mitochondrial optimization, or MOPC. Non-peptides are NAD, which everybody always refers to NAD as a peptide. It's not. Neither is glutathione, which, if you've ever used that one's spicy, just FYI. And L-carnitine. And then emerging evidence is coming out on eptilin and SLOOP 332. This one might make me emotional too. So this is my cellular health and my sample for my cellular health and mitochondrial optimization. Christy is a 73-year-old female who had COVID in 2021. October of 2025, last year, she was officially diagnosed with COVID lung. She had a cough for 5 years that would not go away. She was walking around hypoxic. When she went to the pulmonologist's office, they could not get her SpO2 to go over 87. She was hovering 85 to 87. You guys know we're not supposed to be below 90, right? So they then reclassified it as COPD. This woman has never smoked a cigarette in her life. So with her, we decided to start focusing on supporting lung cellular regeneration, tissue regeneration. Her CT scans were scary looking, as were her chest films. And so I started her on a very specific protocol for her, not for you. This was NAD, MOTC, BPC 157, and GHK copper. She had a CT scan, non-high res. Her first one was high res, her second one was not. But there were no worsening of symptoms and there was no progression of damage to her lung tissue. She was so disappointed. And I said, how do you feel? You can sing and not get in a coughing fit. You haven't done that in 5 years. And she, oh yeah, I was singing Christmas carols driving. I haven't done that in forever. And her SpO2 between October and December went from hovering 80 in the 80s up to 95 to 97. And the reason this one is important, it's my mom. And I will tell you, if I had any concerns about safety or efficacy of any of these things, I would not be having my mom use them. Woo! You're married to guinea pig. I mean, obviously. Something happens to you, I do benefit financially. Here, share. All right, so safety. Safety is another huge reason why I got my peptide therapy certification, is because I see people just using these willy-nilly, and again, just gym bros selling them out of their trunks of their cars and things like that. Oh my gosh. So what exactly matters? Purity verification. You have to make sure that what you're injecting into your body is actually what you think you're injecting into your body. That is a very important thing. We want accurate dosing. And if you don't know how to dose yourself properly, then you probably shouldn't be doing it off of YouTube. Right? Proper storage and handling. Some of these things can get cold. Some of these things shouldn't get cold. Some of these things can be frozen. Some of them will be degradated if they're frozen. You need to make sure that they're being handled properly. And physician oversight. Please have physician oversight. I'm not a medical provider. I do not provide dosing protocols. I do not give reconstitution instructions. I do not do any of that because I stay in my lane. I am a paralegal. I think legal first. Yeah. So some risks, of course, we're seeing obviously mislabeling and the wrong compound. Elena's accidentally injected herself with the wrong thing before she forgot.
My husband.
Well, that's right. See? Incorrect dosing. We don't want incorrect dosing. Contamination. You don't know what could potentially be in the ingredients. Legal exposure. Very legal, 26 years. Nope. And unsafe recommendations, which again, that's what we're seeing all over social media right now. Education over influence. It should be a physician making these decisions for you. Medical history, that's a non-negotiable. Labs, that is a non-negotiable before starting any sort of peptide therapy. Current medications, obviously they need to know that. Contraindications. We talked about muscle recovery, some of those HG peptides I talked about. If you have active cancer or have been treated within 6 to 12 months, do not use those. You need to be cleared by your oncology team before you even think of using anything like that. That is where physician oversight comes into play. Keep looking at Jimmy. And then goals and risk factors. So as a coach, I send in to the physicians, these are my clients' goals. This is where we are right now. Here are their labs. This is the medical history. This is what we're hoping to achieve within this period of time. The physician says yes or no. The physician sends in the recommendation or the prescription to the pharmacy. The pharmacy compounds it and sends it to my clients. That's it. I stay in my lane. So systems biology in real time. Everything is impacted by our metabolism. So we need to make sure that is as stellar as it can possibly be. Everything is connected within our bodies, our guts and our brains, inflammation and metabolism, muscle and insulin sensitivity, right? And obviously sleep and recovery. So I've got 6 minutes left. This right here is the current protocol I've been on since January of 26. I am having skin removal surgery in January of 27. I'm going to the same exact surgeon that Elena went to, actually. So I had a very specific protocol for the 12 months leading up to surgery. I am currently in beginning phase 2 as soon as we get off of this cruise ship. So phase 1 was fat loss and muscle protection. I have been very intentional about what it is that I'm trying to lose. I want the fat gone. I want the muscle to stay. My surgeon wants me at a specific weight, which I'm like, can I show you my DEXA? Do you really want me losing muscle so I fit in this category so that I'm a certain weight? We'll have that discussion later. Phase 2 is going to be inflammation and mitochondrial optimization. I want my body as healthy as possible leading up to surgery. That is another reason why I am not drinking alcohol at all in 2026. Recomp and tissue integrity. That's obviously extremely important pre-surgery, right? We want to make sure our tissue is going to be able to heal properly and isn't going to have any injury issues even during surgery process. And then surgical readiness. That's the 8 weeks leading up to my surgery. Is that my focus for this year is not just about getting skinny and getting smaller. It's making sure my body is going to be able to tolerate the surgery that I'm having, this very major surgery I'm having done in 6 months. So peptide research landscape. There are over 200 active clinical trials happening right now for peptides. Peptide therapy for metabolic disorders, for addiction disorders, everything. People don't realize how much GLP-1s have helped people with addiction issues. It's helping people quit smoking. It's helping people who have alcohol issues. It's helping drug addicts. Because, yes, it is affecting those reward and receptors that are in our brains, right? But that's a good thing. Emerging evidence and findings, We've got, again, studies showing promise in addiction, tissue repair, mitochondrial function, and metabolic pathway optimization. Personalized and precise medicine. Individualized peptide protocols based on your biomarkers, your genetics, your recovery capacity, and your metabolic health. It's becoming a major thing with even in the healthcare space at this point. More doctors are starting to learn about peptide therapy to help their patients. Systems-based health optimization, demonstrating peptide signal influences interconnected systems, including metabolism, inflammation, recovery, brain health, and immune function, rather than just the isolated pathways alone. They're all very synchronous. And then future research, next-gen peptide delivery systems, and personalized therapeutic protocols are reshaping our cellular health research. Thank goodness, right? So here's your takeaways with my last 3 minutes. Peptides are tools. They are not cheats like I followed them 3 years ago. I ate crow, and I had to track it. They are signals for our very complex biological systems that our bodies are. Foundations, they matter. And that's why I have many non-negotiables with my clients. If your foundations are not solid, you're not getting started on the skinny shot, sorry. And there may be other things that we have to do to heal your body before we even think about implementing a GLP-1 into your protocol. Signals need support. Better signaling works best in healthy biological environments, which is, again, I focus on healing before I focus on losing weight when you do a peptide therapy with me. And personalization matters. There is no universal protocol for peptide therapy. It's not one size fits all, just like our diets and our lifestyles are. You need your history. We need to have your labs, which need to be checked every 3 months. And we have to know what your goals are to shape the approach of that we're going to take going forward. Yay! I finished the minute and 40-second left. So the goal is not adding more peptides to your life. And some people get very excited and they're doing 10 shots a day. You don't need to do that. Let's focus on one aspect, one pathway at a time, and make sure that the things you're doing are actually working. So we want better outcomes ultimately. If this sparked questions, you're trying to figure out if this would actually work for you, come talk to me, talk to Elena. She loves to talk just as much as I do. And again, Jimmy Bowen, who is our longevity and peptide expert that's on board. He'll be very happy to have conversations with you. That's where you can find me. Thank you.